Good morning. Guess what day it is? It's March 5th, 2025. It's Ash Wednesday, and it's also National Cheese Doodle Day. Now, cheese puffs or cheese doodles were sort of created by accident. They were created in a factory that made food for animals. The origin of the cheese puff dates back to the 1930s in an animal feed factory in Beloit, Wisconsin, called the Flake-All Company. The actual discovery is credited to a Flake-All Company employee named Edward Wilson. When the Flake-All Company produced its animal feed, the grinder machine would occasionally clog and gum up. To address the problem, employees would add moistened corn to the grinder, which puffed up in the process because of the heat. So, this man named Wilson recognized the potential. He took some of the puff corn home and then he seasoned it and it became human food. So that's how the cheese puffs or cheese doodles came about. So I wondered, what is the orange stuff on the outside? So that is cheese powder. So I thought, well, how is cheese powder made? Cheese powder is essentially dehydrated cheese. It can be made a number of ways, but the most common commercial procedure is to melt the fresh cheese, spray it through a hot dryer, and it produces a thick, velvety powder. So, now you know where cheese doodles came from and what the orange stuff is. You know, cheese powder reminds me of Joseph in the Bible. Remember him? His brothers sold him into slavery because they were jealous, basically, of him. In Egypt, he was falsely accused of a crime and sent to prison. He ended up interpreting a dream for Pharaoh and became the second in command in Egypt. Using his position, he saved all his family from starving during a famine and relocated them to Goshen in Egypt. But Joseph never forgot God's promise to his ancestors that God would give them the promised land as their own. He believed God's promises. Joseph wanted to be buried there. So how does that relate to cheese puffs? Well, Joseph was embalmed. During that process, they dry the body out of all liquids to stop decay. So, just like the dried cheese, they dry out the body for embalming. Genesis chapter 50, verses 24 to 26 says, "And Joseph said to his brethren, I am dying, but God will surely visit you and bring you out of this land to the land of which he swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob." Then Joseph took an oath from the children of Israel, saying, "God will surely visit you, and you shall carry up my bones from here." So Joseph died, being 110 years old, and they embalmed him, and he was put in a coffin in Egypt. So 430 years later, Exodus 13:19 says, "And Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for he had placed the children of Israel under solemn oath, saying, God will surely visit you, and you shall carry up my bones from here with you." Do you trust God's promises that much? Do you know that God will work things out for you? Not only for you, but even beyond your life? That he could be using you today for a great purpose that you won't even see on this earth. Today, won't you trust him for those great and mighty things?